A wonderful question. Analysis paralysis when it comes to choosing gear. And for that, I'm actually going to paraphrase a philosophy from Adam Savage. He's like an idol for me at the moment with my workshop rabbit hole I'm currently down. He said that when it comes to choosing a piece of equipment, now of course he's talking about workshop equipment and stuff, but the same thing applies to video production equipment, audio production equipment, whatever. He said that when he's not sure whether he should get, like whether he actually needs the super fancy thing or whatever, that he gets the cheapest version of that thing possible and uses that to inform his decision. If he gets the cheapest thing possible and he rarely ever uses it, or it does the job and he doesn't need anything more than that, then he's good. If he finds that he can't live without it, or that there are very particular things that you find out about that thing that you then wish you had, that's when you can go all in buying the specific thing you want. And so while I have historically always been very particular about saying that people should do their best to choose the right piece of gear first instead of wasting money on upgrade paths that you can't really resell or something like that, I know this contradicts that a little bit. I have kind of shifted my philosophy towards buy something cheap that you can resell, and we'll talk about that in a moment, and then determine what your actual needs are from there. If you are, this is only if you are truly stuck in analysis paralysis. If you're in a position where you still think you can make that decision and do the research and buy it, do that first. Always try to buy the right thing first. If you are stuck, buy a product that is cheaper from a reputable brand that you can resell. So, for example, in terms of budget microphones, Samson Q2U. That's a microphone that is always selling. You will probably be able to sell it for the exact same amount you paid for it, if not more, when you're done using it. When it comes to cameras, something from Canon or Sony, but something that is already a decent commodity on the market. Don't buy generic no-name Chinese Amazon camcorder or knockoff USB mic, because no one's really going to want to buy it from you when you're done with it or when you decide you want something else. Whereas you can minimize the waste impact of spending money on something that you don't use long-term by getting something that you can resell. So I use the Q2U as a microphone example. With the camera, for example, you got things like the A5100, if you can find them as cheap as they're supposed to be. The Panasonic G7, cameras like that. That is how most of us, at least back in the day when there weren't great options, did our upgrade paths, was we got what was accessible and figured out what we wanted from there. So I went from a Canon T3i, discovered that, ancient mirrorless cameras with line skipping or mirrored cameras with line skipping weren't great for me. Went to the Panasonic G7, got amazing 4K, super sharp images, decent low light performance, but it had terrible continuous autofocus, and the crop sensor was too much, crop for me. So then I upgraded from there. So getting something that you can afford, but has limits you can analyze is great. Hope this helps.